Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to a latest preview. I've got my fellow Dutchman over to my left of me. How are you, Brandon?
Not bad at all. Been working all day, pretty long, but in the hot weather of the Netherlands, of course, but not bad. Happy to do the preview with you guys.
Stop playing your violin. And we've got Sophie as well. Sophie, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I'm glad it's Friday tomorrow, put it that way, because I'm obviously in a school and back at work, and I cannot wait for club football to come back. I mean, I know we're going to get into it in a minute, but I just love it when the international breaks out of the way, to be honest with you.
I kind of agree, but I know what's coming on Saturday, so I'm not. I don't know. But before we begin, can you tell our Newcastle fans where you're from? What's your channel?
Yeah, of course. So my channel is Ladies in Red, previously known as Hairdryer Treatment, so you may have heard that before. But yeah, I'm just a girl. I'm a Manchester United fan, and I just aim to get other females involved in football, really, and just try and spread female voices. So even though I am a United fan, I tend to have a lot of different, obviously, clubs and supporters on my channel, and it's just the aim of spreading female voices, really.
Good on you. I like that as well. Ollie's in the comments already saying we're predicting a 6 or 7-0 defeat. Sophie, you're probably going to get that. You're going to get that vibe from a lot of us in this video. You'll probably tell by that. I've got to address the elephant in the room. You know where I'm coming here, so it's everywhere. You can't escape. You turn on social media, he's there. You turn on the Sky Sports News, he's there. Will he start? Will Cristiano Ronaldo start this weekend?
It's kind of surely you don't sign Cristiano Ronaldo and not start him. I know obviously Sancho and Varane didn't come straight in, but this is a different breed. This is Cristiano Ronaldo. Obviously done an interview with West Brown. It's come out today where he said, "I'm ready. I'm putting pressure on Ollie to be in that starting 11 I want to play." It's starting, in my opinion. He's starting. It has to start. And like many other United fans, I just cannot wait to see him walk out to Old Trafford.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that personally, but that's because I'm black and white. Brandon, do you think Ronaldo will start?
Why wouldn't he? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe because how many training sessions has he had so far?
I think twice now.
But does Ronaldo really need training sessions? I mean, come on.
True. He's played in football though, hasn't he? He played, obviously, he scored the 2 goals against Ireland, so he has played competitive football over the international break as well. It's not like he's not been doing anything. So that's, like I say, he's a machine, isn't he? Like, surely he can come straight in.
International record breaker as well, wasn't he, against the mighty Jeff Hendrick and his Republic of Ireland? Yeah, but yeah, Ronaldo's everywhere. I mean, is it going to be like not a circus, because that's not the right phrase, but is it going to take away the shine of whatever Manchester United performance is, whether to win, a loss, or a draw? Is it all about Ronaldo?
It is, but that kind of is what worries me as well. I'm hoping that the players obviously aren't caught up in the moment, because it is a historical moment, him coming back. I'm hoping that we are focused, and I'd like to think Ronaldo's got that mentality where he ensures they are focused. But yeah, I think it is Ronaldo's day. Let's face it, his second debut. He wants to. He said today he wants to come in. He wants to make history. He wants to win trophies. He's not here for a holiday. I love that kind of attitude. Like, you cannot doubt his spirit and his winning mentality. And I think that's something that we've lacked over the last few years, to be fair, that winning mentality, that leadership. And I think Ronaldo's got it all.
Yeah, he's just a class talent, isn't he?
He's class.
Yeah, he's one of the most gifted as ever. Brandon, who's better, Messi or Ronaldo?
I would like to say, yeah, I think Messi, although Messi still has to improve to prove that he can compete in other competitions, while Ronaldo already have like 3 top competitions where he proved himself. So if you go on based on that stat, you would say Ronaldo, but I think Messi is the more talented player. Ronaldo is just grafting his ass off, and much respect for that. But I think it's just Messi, just by a bit. But do you have some guys?
You're playing United at the weekend.
I'm not saying now, because I know this will be clipped up and come and bite us back in the arse. I'm not saying now. Tell us on Saturday night outside Old Trafford. But yeah, he's Tim or Messi. It's been that way for the last 15 years. It's absolutely phenomenal. I think we're just lucky and praise it that we've now got both of them. We're only going to have them for another 2 or 3 years until they start declining. And now Messi's in a farmers league, and Ronaldo has done it in all the big leagues. But yeah, it's all about Ronaldo. Does he start up top?
Yeah,
sure he does.
Yeah, And I think the thing I like about it is obviously we've got Cavani as well, and I'm sure you Newcastle fans are really loving the fact that you've got him on the bench to bring on as well. Greenwood, who started this season on fire. Like, we've got 3 players really. I don't class Martial as a 9. I think he plays better out on the left. But in terms of strikers like Greenwood, Cavani, and Ronaldo, like we should not have a shortage of goals going forward this season. I can't. And I think the impact he's going to have on Greenwood's game as well. We've already seen Cavani's relationship with him. I think he's just going to get better and better. And I think a lot of talk about Cavani next summer and whatnot. I think we need to keep eyes on Greenwood, to be honest. I don't know. What's your thoughts on Mason Greenwood? Do you think he's overhyped, or do you rate him?
I do rate him. I think he's probably the best natural finisher that he's got. I think he's gradually. I don't like him out wide. I think you've got to play him to the middle. And I think once Harry Kane steps out the way, because Harry Kane's late 20s now. That's Greenwood's path after Kane. I think Kane is still the number 1 striker for England. I think Greenwood needs to be that number 9, because when we played them at Old Trafford, he was out on the right, and I think he scored as well. So
he scored that screamer, didn't he?
Yeah. Didn't remind me. Please didn't.
So do you rate Greenwood better than Rashford actually?
In terms of finishing, I think Rashford, when he's on form, I think he can be unplayable. Obviously, towards the end of last season, I thought it was poor. I think it's no secret he was obviously tired, he was jagged, he needed that surgery as well. And I'm just hoping that he comes back from that surgery. So I think people forget how effective he was at the start of last season. I mean, his record speaks for itself. The amount of goals and assists he got last season, and that's bearing in mind he was injured for quite a lot of that as well. In future, I think Greenwood will overtake him, being totally honest, because, like you say, he is the most natural finisher that we've got. But I do think Rashford, on top of his game, like I say, can be unplayable. He just needs to get that form back, really. I think we've seen a dip, and I think that has come down to the injury that he's obviously been playing with.
I like Rashford a lot. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah. I love Rashford. But I do think that injury has obviously plagued him a little bit, because his form did massively dip.
Yeah, I do love Rashford. It's just a shame that the government...
He's still young, isn't he?
Didn't get political on that. Just a shame the government didn't like Rashford. But he's a wonderful human being as well. I wanted to talk about, obviously, our big signing. Sophie, I said off camera that you're staring at that number 4 straight away. You're not a big fan of the shirt. Tell us why, first of all.
It's just, I just feel like, I mean, when Chelsea first got that free sponsor on their shirt, and obviously they kept conceding 3 goals, it was just like a meme shirt. And I feel like that, I fear that that's going to turn into a meme for you guys. Like, if we win 4-0 at the weekend, for example, everyone's going to be referring to that shirt all over Twitter. You just know it's going to happen. I just can't unsee the number 4 just above the sponsor. They should have made it thinner stripes, maybe.
No, you kind of I totally agree. And we've already had it with West Ham putting 4 past with already. Yeah, we've had it already.
So the 4 is just there for the amount of season that Sunderland is still in League One. So
they are kind of understand it then. Maybe if your Newcastle fans keep thinking that, then it's all good. But rival fans are going to jump on that, definitely.
Makes it less painful, you know.
What do you make of Joe Willock that we had to get him, didn't we? Because the format was on the back end of the season.
Yeah, when he came in on loan, you were in massive trouble, and he was like the bright spot for you. I know you had a lot of injuries, and he kind of stepped up to the plate for you guys, didn't he? Obviously, he stepped in with a few really important goals for you, but his whole impact as well. I think watching Newcastle, because obviously I've got good friends who are Newcastle fans and whatnot, so I do actually watch quite a bit of Newcastle. Him and Saint-Maximin, realistically, when Saint-Maximin was fit, obviously, were your main sparks. And I'm looking at all the other players thinking, where's the goal going to come from? So I think Willock, his goals, and his major involvements in games as well. I think you've got a lot of players who, I don't want to be disrespectful, but are quite average. They might have one good game in 10 games, for example, whereas Willock, I think, is a bit more consistent for you guys. And it's a good move for him as well, because obviously he wasn't getting minutes at Arsenal.
Yeah, you're totally right. Carl, who's on NFTV, is that one of our presenters? Yes, you do pick that up, Carl, because Carl is from Redditch, which isn't a million miles.
Oh, nice, not far. Yeah,
a million miles away from you. Talk to me about Man United's results so far this season. You can see the 4-0 win, and that was the friendly one that. Yeah. Before the season kicks off, that was a great win against Leeds. All Man United fans would have loved that. Disappointing draw against Southampton. Weren't the greatest against Wolves, but you still picked up 7 points from 3 games.
Yeah, I think it's been a mixed bag. I think obviously you mentioned the Wolves game in particular, and very similar to the Southampton one, we just did not play well at all. I felt we were lucky to get the point against Southampton, and again against Wolves. I just feel like, I don't know, we haven't quite clicked. I obviously said the Leeds game, but I think that was kind of a theme for that first weekend. Like, fans back in stadiums, the home teams having that bit of an advantage. Obviously, the buzz was there. It being Leeds as well. I just don't think we've clicked yet. And I think the international break, it can either be a really good or a really bad thing. I think for us, maybe it's a good thing because we hadn't started the season amazingly well. Ronaldo's coming in the meantime. It's given us that extra lift. And I'm just hoping that we can kick on now because, like you say, we got the points, and you always say the top teams do that. They don't exactly play well, but they still pick up the 3 points. And we did that definitely against Wolves. But now, obviously, I think we've got to kick on from that. Like I say, we've got to take confidence in the fact that we grinded it out. And yeah, we've got to push on. I think Ronaldo coming in hopefully gives us that lift.
Just a question on the Champions League coming back around as well. Yeah. Does Solskjaer play a stronger side on this game, a lesser side against young boys? Because you still expect to get a result, but then you've got West Ham, which is the tougher game.
Knowing Ollie from last season, he didn't rotate a lot. He would play a strong team for all three of them, which is why towards the end of the season you saw Bruno was on his last legs. We already mentioned Rashford being absolutely exhausted. I think he's going to go with strong lineups. I think he will. Maybe you might see the odd switch. Maybe Cavani coming in for the game, or Martial, we've already mentioned, might play a bit more. Donny, I'm really hoping gets some minutes. There's a lot of discussions about him maybe getting some minutes at the weekend because Fred and McTominay are out. So obviously Fred's not allowed to play, and McTominay, I believe, is still injured. So that would mean Matic or Donny comes in. So I think we have got squad depth. And I think that's what we've always said Ollie last season needed to improve on, is rotating the key players. And hopefully he does that now. We've got some obviously key signings in.
Brandon,
I got a question for Sophie actually. Like you mentioned the squad depth, of course. Is it a failed season for Man United if they don't win the Premier League or the Champions League or whatever?
I think
Champions League is hard, I know, but
I think a trophy is key, and whether that's the Premier League, Champions League, of course, that would be nice, but FA Cup as well. I think obviously we've got 4 semi-finals we've flopped at. We got into the final last season, we flopped at the final. I think now with the likes of Varane, Sancho, Ronaldo coming in, I've already mentioned that winning mentality. We've surely got to get a trophy this season, and I think if we don't get a trophy, then that's when the questions will obviously be asked of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I think qualifying for the Champions League and silverware this season will always be a priority. And of course, we've got to be there or thereabouts in terms of competing for the league. But we can't ignore the fact that obviously Chelsea brought Lukaku in and spent mad money as well. We're not the only teams who have invested. Competition for Man City is going to get much tougher, isn't it? And like I say, Liverpool, Van Dijk back as well. Teams have all strengthened. It's just about which signings strengthen and settle the best, I suppose.
Brandon, I was going to come to you there. Donny van der Beek, obviously fellow Dutchman. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on him not getting much game time? Is he good enough?
I think he's good enough, actually. But if you look the names who he has to compete with, that's mental, though. I mean, Donny is probably one of the best Dutch players you can have. But if you look for all the players on the Man U's list, it's incredible. So, but he stays positive. I saw an interview with him. He tries to stay positive, and he takes this as a learning curve, sort of, to be able training with these guys. I know it sounds silly, but he says obviously I want game time, but it's hard.
Yeah.
You kind of get in the side above Fred. I mean, he's a meme himself, isn't he? Drop dead Fred and all that.
Fred Flintstone, I call him at times, honestly, because he's just, especially that final third, he looks so unnatural going forwards on the ball. I think I would say about Fred is he's a fantastic player when it comes to winning the ball back. His tenacity in there and his energy is unmatched. It really is. But the issue I have is when he gets the ball, he's so quick at giving it away because he's too rash, he's too erratic. He tries to play like worldly balls, and he just hasn't got that in his game. He just needs to keep it simple. And that's what's so frustrating about him, because I think if he could add the passing to his game, and we don't control the midfield, and that's because we don't keep the ball well enough in that midfield. And that's why, for me, McTominay always should be the name above Fred in terms of starting, because I just think McTominay is a better ball player. But yeah, in terms of Donny, look, he's a different type of player to Fred. But in that interview that you spoke about, he did say that I could play the 6, I could play the 8. A lot of people believe that it's either him or Bruno Fernandes, but he's openly come out and said, no, I'd play the 8 or the 6. Surely, with McTominay and Fred being 8, you'd think this weekend is the perfect opportunity for Ollie to give him some game time, because we all know Donny's a good player. There's a quality player in there. He just hasn't settled yet at United, but at the same time, I feel because he hasn't had a run of games where he can even prove himself. You
can play Donny everywhere. You saw it at Ajax Amsterdam as well. You know, he's a creative player, and it doesn't really matter where you play him.
And he's bulked up, to be fair, as well. He's obviously worked hard to try and get himself ready.
He always grafts. Believe me.
Yeah, I think he's one of those players that if he goes to the Spurs or an Everton or someone like that, or he'll flourish. He will, because he'll play regularly. But speaking of results, doom and gloom time. Sorry, people. So if you see from the outside, you look at those results, it doesn't look good, does it?
Do we really have to play this game though? Can't it just be a 3-0 and we just save a trip to Manchester?
I think, look, before the season, I was asked my predictions about what teams would go down, and seeing obviously the business, seeing obviously I'm good friends with Kendall as well, who's always talking about Steve Bruce, and a lot of Newcastle fans aren't happy with Bruce there as well. I said that I think you'd struggle this season. I was hoping you'd invest because I think Newcastle's one of them clubs, such a good fan base, great stadium. And from the outside looking in, it's almost been like a ticking time bomb. Like they're just waiting for you to get relegated before they actually act upon it. Like obviously there's lots of talks about takeovers. Every season there seems to be some kind of rumour, but nothing seems to happen. And for me, don't get me wrong, Willock is a good player, but after last season, surely Newcastle should have invested a little bit more. I know fans are definitely frustrated. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. I think Newcastle, if some maximum players like that turn up, I think you definitely can cause trouble. You can score goals, but defensively, obviously, I think, yeah, I would be worried as a Newcastle fan, and I'm not saying that to be unkind. I'm just being honest.
We all are. If you look at them, though, every single Premier League game has had a VAR penalty go against her. I've joked all week that it's nailed on for us to concede a penalty at Old Trafford. With Ronaldo stepping up and grabbing his debut goal, I can just see it. I can just picture it. But you look at that team, the teams that were played though. So if those are the teams that, West Ham maybe not, but you look at Villa, we got beat there 2-0. Burnley, we couldn't beat them in the cup despite performing better than Burnley. Yeah. And then Southampton, we thought we got the winner for ASM last minute, and then we've conceded another penalty, and it doesn't look good, does it?
It doesn't. The only thing I would say is the international break, like I've already mentioned, could come at a good or a bad time. And obviously when it's Manchester United as well, it's almost like a final. Newcastle, I think, is always a tough game. And I know that obviously we've had a lot of wins of late and whatnot, but I don't always think we'd be better. Do you know what I mean? I think Newcastle often turn up against Manchester United, and that's why I'm also nervous playing them, especially when my mates are Newcastle fans as well, because you have to hope and hope for a bit if you don't do so well. But yeah, Newcastle, I think, like I say, I think you'll score goals, but it's the conceding. And you mentioned that game where you conceded late on, you just couldn't see the game out. That would be concerning to me.
Yeah, and obviously there's a couple of comments saying that Bruce is a Man United fan because obviously he's had a very successful career. Man U, I think he still lives around the area, doesn't he? Greater Manchester, I'm sure he does. So we don't class him as a Geordie, even though he was born up here, because he's not one of us, unfortunately. It's just.
What's your thoughts on Bruce? Sorry.
Well, if he feels like he's one of us, he is one of us. I mean, same with me. I feel like a Geordie. I've lived there, of course, but for 1 year. But you guys consider me a Geordie as well. So
yeah, I think
what you're saying is not quite correct.
No, he's not a Geordie. He was born here, but he moved when he was a 16, 17-year-old kid. Had a great career. He talks when he was at Sunderland about disrespecting Newcastle. I know you probably do that when the fans over. Of course you do, didn't you? Some of the stuff he comes out with in press conferences have little digs at fans, little digs at previous manager. That's the way he goes on. It's not how a Geordie goes on. And funny enough, his best ever result was a Sunderland manager when we beat them 5-1. That goes to show you. Nah, I'm keeping it clean, but no, he's not my biggest fan. I'm not his biggest fan. Sorry.
Me neither. Not anymore.
I wanted to talk about your arrivals as well, so because Tom Heaton's obviously probably going to be third choice, bottom of League Grand, but the other three, I mean, look at that. I'm gonna say this a tongue-in-cheek moment. What is complaining about the Glazers about?
It's right, isn't it? It's right. Look, obviously Ronaldo coming back in particular, it's romantic, isn't it? The Glazers have definitely got the fans in a headlock with that one. I mean, you saw his cues at the mega store and stuff like that for the shirts and whatnot. Can't ignore obviously the debt at the club, but it was definitely a nice touch bringing Ronaldo back. Obviously, he was linked to City as well. But look, you can't really complain at the signings we've made. Of course, we all said we wanted a centre midfielder, but if you get the chance to bring Ronaldo home, you just have to go out and do it. I think I'd have been more upset with the club if they didn't do that, and I saw him in a City shirt, definitely. So, yeah. And Varane coming in is a player that I've wanted for a long, long time, and I think we've lacked that commanding centre back. Hopefully, him and Maguire form a really good partnership. I mean, when you saw Ronaldo was coming back to United, what were your thoughts on that? Because a lot of people believe he's past it, but we just mentioned obviously record breaker at international level. Do you think a lot of people believe it's a bad signing, believe it or not?
No, I think he'll still bag 25, 30 goals.
Surely.
I don't think so. But my question would be to Sophie is like, if he backs in 15 goals, is that is that a successful season for Ronaldo?
I think for me, of course, we've got high expectations of him, but it depends on the situation. I think if we're scoring more goals going forwards, and it's not only that impact that he has, Obviously, if he gets a lot of assists and whatnot as well. I mentioned Greenwood as well. I think going forwards, goals should not be an issue. And if they don't always fall on Ronaldo, of course, but as long as we're near the top of the table, as I've already mentioned, and we're banging in goals and we look good going forwards, because at times we've seen against low blocks, we've really struggled to break them down. I'm hoping Ronaldo gives us something a bit different going forward. So I'm saying I hope that we're more balanced going forwards with Ronaldo in the team, a proper number 9, proper forward. But I think I'm going to say at least 20 goals. That's what I predict from Ronaldo this season in the Premier League, about 20 goals. But a lot, like I say, people talk about Haaland coming in and whatnot. Is that then going to hold back Greenwood's progression? And I think that's probably what's in the club's mind as well. If you sign someone like Haaland, does that then make Greenwood third in the pecking order? And at the age that he's at and the way that he's playing, you've got to think forward as well. And I think the Ronaldo signing, maybe that means that we're not going to go in for the likes of Haaland in future, which obviously a lot of people felt was now done.
I think
So
with Ronaldo. Sorry, Brian. I'll just quickly.
I got one question because I picked something up on TalkSport. I think it was Simon Jones saying that this team of Man U is better than the 99 squad. What do you make of that?
They haven't won anything. So for me, you don't say that. They haven't won anything. You have to. For me, the measure of how good a team is how much you win. And I know that.
Why listen to Simon Jordan? Why listen to Simon Jordan?
Yeah, true. Good question.
You need testing if you listen to him. I think the thing about Ronaldo, he's got legs around him, he's got pace around him. Yeah. And we know that Ronaldo doesn't run around and have flicks and tricks. He's changed his game the last 6-7 years. He's a poacher. He'll hang around the box and he'll want service and he'll demand that from whoever's out wide, whether it's Martial, Rashford, Sancho, whoever it is. He's got pace around him. And then you've got Pogba, who's started off the season well, whatever Graham Souness thinks of him. He has started the season well. I think he's there, and I think he very rarely gets injured. He demands to play, and he'll probably play if you get a League One side in the League Cup game. Ronaldo's that type of player. I want to play in this game. That's his mindset. Yeah. So I like that about him. He's a natural winner. Will he come back and haunt a lot of teams this season? Definitely will. He'll probably start this weekend. So I think he'll get 20, 25 quite easily, me. I think he will. I think he's got the team around him. He was in a black and white shirt. He'd probably struggle to get 15. I would agree on that. So I want to have a look at your departures. Is anyone that you think, we should have kept him?
You know what? And a lot of United fans probably don't agree with me in this one, but I was a bit sad to see Dan James go. Obviously, don't get me wrong, his end product needed to improve and whatnot, but he was still really young, and I think he was a very useful squad player to get. I can understand it totally with Ronaldo coming in and going even further down, and to be fair, we near enough doubled the money we'd spent on him, so it was good business. But just on a personal note, after his debut when he scored, and obviously his dad had passed away, and it was just really touching. Yeah. I just wish it worked out for him. Like, I can understand it, but it just hurt me a little bit because it was just a shame to see a player like that. Like I say, great attitude, really good squad player, just to leave and go to somewhere like Leeds. But like I say, understandable.
What do you make of my fellow Dutchman?
What was that, sorry?
Jong. What do you make of my fellow Dutchman leaving, Jong?
To me, he's on loan and he's playing in the Championship where we can keep an eye on him, and he's playing regular football, and obviously he's hit the ground running with Birmingham as well. So I think that's a really good move for him.
Do you rate him?
Jong. I do rate him, yeah, but I just feel like he's still a lad. He needs to get a bit more physical. And like I say, I play regular football, but also somewhere where actually it's competitive and where we can keep an eye on him as well. And he's made a really good start to the season, and our Blues fans love him.
I think Dan James there's a skeptic out there, and I do like a good conspiracy that they sold Dan James so Cavani could switch to 21,
probably,
which then freed up number 7, so it was to get around the rules. Maybe I think we've been linked to quite a couple of your squad players. We've been linked to Axwell Twanzebe over the summer quite a bit.
Yeah,
Brandon Williams was another one as well because we've got a slight issue at left wing back, but I am really, really pleased we did not get Phil Jones. That's the one I'm really happy about because we were linked to him towards the end of that deadline, and I was like, please don't sign him.
We were like this.
But we've been linked with him already for like 3 seasons or so.
Oh, you can stay where he is. I mean, how long's he got left in his contract's off?
I swear we gave him a new one. I'm pretty sure he's still got like 2-3 years left, which is incredible. He's got a testimonial game and everything. He's been there that long, and you know what? I'm saying this over down my channel. Like the stick that he gets personally, I don't agree with. He's still a human being, and obviously he's had a lot of injuries and whatnot. But I mean, the audacity to say to Varane you're not having the number 4 and stuff like that when he's not going to get anywhere near the starting lineup, stuff like that I don't like to hear about, because I'm thinking surely he doesn't think that he's going to be a regular player for Manchester United. Like the fact that he's still at the club after the lack of game time is crazy. But It's a shame, really, because I remember when he was young and upcoming, a lot of people saying I was going to do the new Duncan Edwards. I remember seeing him playing at Blackburn, and he was obviously talked about a lot. And then he's come to United, and injuries have just riddled his career. And it is unfortunate to see that, but I just can't believe he's still there. I cannot believe it.
I'm just so pleased that we didn't sign him. A little bit on Newcastle. Obviously, we've signed Joe Willock, which we've talked about. The honeymoon, Santiago Munoz. I'm sure you've seen goal, haven't you, Soph?
Yeah, I have.
What do you make of that? It's a PR signing, isn't it?
How couldn't that make you fall in love with Newcastle, though, if you saw the movie Goal?
Sorry, Brian, I didn't hear you, mate.
I said, how could you not fall in love with Newcastle if you saw the movie Goal?
Yeah,
He's one of them. You knew what was going to happen, though, that he was one of them. It's just too predictable. But it's a good film. Nonetheless, good film.
It is a great film, but I mean, yeah, it's just a PR sign. We'll have signed 3 other under 23 lads, which are not on that list. But the departures probably don't surprise anybody. Christian Atsu, Yoshinori Mutu, Final June's probably the big one. Matty Longstaff
surprised me.
Matty Longstaff loves a goal against Hughes, doesn't he?
Exactly. I'm glad that he's gone, but I was surprised with that one, though.
He's not getting any game time, Sophie. Since his breakthrough that season, when he scored a couple of past years, barely got a kick. Bruce doesn't like him for whatever reason. So he's off.
Him against us.
And I just play him as a goal scorer.
Was his debut, wasn't it?
Yeah, his debut at Old Trafford.
Yeah,
he scored at Old Trafford as well because he'd done the inject the vein celebration. Big Andy Carroll. Surprised he doesn't find a club, but he's off. There's nobody that really surprises there, is there, Brandon?
Well, Florian Lejeune, he's set to leave, especially if you look at the defense now. We're lacking on our defense. We're too weak now. It was solid, and you saw at the Lavas, Lejeune had a really good season, actually, even though I think they got relegated, didn't they?
No, they stayed in, but I think he got team of the season.
But yeah, he had a really good season at the Lavas, actually, but I don't know why we didn't keep him. It's weird.
It's just Bruce. He's being Bruced. Simple as that. He's being Bruced.
Or maybe Charlie. I don't know. Because he's doing all the job for Justly. So
yeah, we'll not get into that. That's another video for another day because we'll be there for hours.
Yeah.
So who's the threat for Man United?
Who are we concerned about?
Yeah.
Obvious one is obviously saint-maximin. Wilson, if he's fit, but you mentioned obviously he might not be fit. But saint-maximin on his day, I mean, I've got to be honest, I love the guy. I love him at United. Not just for the way that he plays, because he's so entertaining, but on Twitter and stuff like that, he just seems like an absolute ball to have around, doesn't he? He's just a good guy.
He does trolls. He trolls back, doesn't he?
I know, he's class. He's really, like I say, entertaining on and off the pitch. But yeah, he has to be the threat. Wilson as well. And Willock, I think, is a key player for you guys as well. But
would you love him at Man U?
Would I like to Maximin?
Yeah, at Man United.
Yeah, I just don't think we'd have that. I mean, we obviously got Sahara and that didn't work out. I don't think it would work out for Saint-Maximin, but as a fan, he's definitely one to get you on the edge of the seat, isn't he? And I just love players like that. I mean, Ronaldinho, players who just do just the unexpected on the pitch.
Looks like he's loving the game, doesn't he? He loves the game.
He just does whatever he does. He doesn't worry about like might lose the ball. He just tries it anyway, doesn't he? And I love that fearlessness about it. And like I say on Twitter as well, I just think he's proper funny. So yeah, he has to be the main one, I think.
But so you're comparing ASM with Ronaldinho, really?
No, but his style, the way that he just invents. Right, Ronaldinho doing the audacity of trying that back pass, for example. I can see Saint-Maximin doing something like that, or even like Balassi, where he just stroked the grass and what are you doing? But I just love that entertainment factor. Like, yeah, he's just that kind of player for me.
He's a showman. He's a showboat, and he's a showman.
Yeah.
For me though, Ronaldinho was just another level though. But
of course, he was.
I know what you mean.
His own league.
I don't think Saint-Maximin starts Man U if he was in there. I think he'd be a great squad player, definitely. To change the game to bring off the bench, but you'll not be a regular because I've always said that ASM has to get double figures if he wants that big move, and that's why he's at Newcastle. So,
but would ASM make a move that he knows he's going to be on the bench most of the time?
I think
he loves it at Newcastle, doesn't he?
Yeah, he loves it.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, he absolutely loves it.
I don't think he'll believe.
No, but he has dropped a little few hints here and there that he wanted the team to improve, and there was a big push for Willock, and he's happy about that. You can see Newcastle setting up literally just get the ball to him and he does the rest. And all you guys have got to do is have 2 men on him. Yeah,
that's what you got to do. Got to try and keep him out of the game. But I think for us, we kind of play into our own hands, like in terms of if Newcastle play with a low block, which I presume you're going to try and sit in. we struggle against that. And then our play slows down, and that's where we become at risk at the counter attack, and that's where saint-maximin obviously can hurt us the most, breaking away. Obviously, he's rapid, skillful. Like you mentioned, he needs to improve in terms of his goal record at Newcastle. But I think we've got to be careful of that. Slack passes, we saw Pogba do it so many times against Wolves, and obviously Adama hit us on the break, and they should have scored 3 before even half time. That's my concern for us. Are we going to become too open because we get a bit too confident going forward, to commit too many bodies? And like I say, saint-maximin, I think he's that one player who could hurt us.
What is like set pieces defensively? Are you good?
In terms of Varane, obviously we've only seen one game of it, but I thought he looked really commanding. There was one header, wasn't there, where De Gea made that mad double save against Wolves.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought he was pretty commanding. Maguire's pretty solid as well. Yeah, I'd say I trust us at set pieces now. I wouldn't have said that in the past, not with Lindelof there. I think Lindelof could be bullied on occasions, but I do think Varane is a bit more solid.
That's actually a question I wanted to ask a Man U fan actually for a while. Are you really happy with Maguire though?
You know what? I think Maguire gets a lot of stick. I've got to be honest. Don't get me wrong; he's not worth 80 million. I'm not going to sit here and justify that price. That was absolutely ridiculous. But I think at the time we really needed a centre back. Obviously, Maguire come in. We lacked leaders as well, and I do think Maguire has improved us in that sense. And I think with Varane now, I think this is the season to judge him. Like I said, I think Lindelof at times was a bit lightweight. He got bullied a little bit. With the ball at his feet, don't get me wrong, Lindelof is a good ball player, but physically in the Premier League, I think he struggled. Whereas Varane coming in is fast as well. Obviously, Varane, which will account for the fact that Maguire isn't the quickest. And Lindelof was quick, don't get me wrong, but I just think Varane obviously is a level above Lindelof. No disrespect to him, but Varane is a world-class centre-back, and surely he's going to make any back four better.
I think Maguire has too many errors in himself, and probably this season he's gonna do better because the squad improved. Let's face it, the squad improved midfield attacking wise. So there's probably not that much work he has to do compared to last season. So he probably gets rated better.
Maguire in the Euros, for example, with Stones next to him, I thought he had a tremendous tournament. And I think it just shows that with a really solid centre-back at the side of him, I think that'll really bring him on. And that's what I'm saying. I think this season, I think Varane being there, I think we'll get the best out of Maguire. And he started this season well.
I think this is the best back four Man United had in years. Absolute years. Luke Shaw.
Do you?
Yeah, Luke Shaw is a different player. Luke Shaw the last 12 months as well.
Yeah, true.
That level or two.
I actually remember that the story of Luke Shaw is incredible because I remember actually that I went to a Champions League game, PSV Eindhoven Man U, and Hector Moreno, he had an
awful tackle,
a shocker on Luke Shaw, and everyone thought it was that's the end of his career. But look at him now. Much respect for Luke Shaw actually.
Yeah.
I've seen it live. It was mental.
I mean, that leg break was awful. A lot of people thought he might never play again. So the fact that he's come back and obviously he had all that stick from Jose Mourinho as well, where he was labelled as fat and whatnot, and his confidence was at a real low. It just really kicked on, and I think Tellers coming in, that extra competition for him has really pushed him on as well.
And look at him now; he's now first choice for England. So,
I was saying, and I know you might laugh at me, and I know it sounds biased, but I was saying during the Euros and whatnot, I couldn't think of a left back in the world who was in better form than Luke Shaw. And I'm not saying Luke Shaw's the best left back in the world, but for me, on form, at that time, he was the best left back in the world. He was phenomenal, and getting the goal in the Euros final, I was so happy for him as well. I think that was well deserved for the tournament and the season he'd had.
Yeah, he had a great Euros, absolutely wonderful. We're going to come to Man United's team. What the predicted 11 will be shortly, so. But this is the last game that we played out. It's not going to change the system. You mentioned the low block. I totally agree with you. It will be that. We don't know if Wilson's going to be fit, which is massive for us.
I just hope Almiron doesn't play, to be fair.
Well, Almiron did miss amongst the Toon fan base because he might not play because of, I know the Brazilian players. Yeah. Fred obviously cannot play. But that might be enforced on Paraguay because we didn't release Almiron. And Fraser's got injured in international duty. Richie defensively, that's where he'll hurt. Where I think more so. Where do you see Sophie on that team? Where's your weakness? Where's the areas? Is that a lot? Be honest.
Where isn't?
Yeah, I think I'll be honest. Lascelles, I don't really rate, and I know he's been at Newcastle a while now and been skipper and whatnot. But I think you mentioned about Maguire and errors earlier. I think Lascelles has always got that error in him. Playing a back three as well. Obviously, I think we'll probably go with a front three, and I think it's going to be an interesting one. But Lascelles against Ronaldo, you have to say you fancy Ronaldo to get the better of him there. But you never know.
The thing with Lascelles is that we need him because he's almost the only real leader that stands up.
He is a leader.
And organizes the defense. Yeah. Organized defense. Without him, we look like a mess. We've seen that in the beginning of the season. So I think he has to play. If we have Dubravka, I have to say we don't need Lascelles that much, but I think Lee agrees with me on that. But
I think Lascelles has been cost for a couple of penalties so far this season. Fabian Schär is very indifferent. He looks world class the next minute. He looks like he's bound behind ice. Fernandez is a talker, but I could see Kieran Clark coming in to replace Fabian Schär for more settled. I wouldn't start Matt Ritchie. I think defensively he's cost with 2 or 3 goals. And I would actually switch it, and I would be brave and go 4 at the back, and then park 2 centre midfielders.
But that's never going to happen, Lee.
I know it's not. It'll never happen under Bruce. We know it's 5 at the back, and it's frustrating as a Toon fan base that all season, well, majority of the season, we're expecting 5 at the back, even against bottom of the league. And so, if you've probably seen that against Sheffield United last season, that was the turning point where Newcastle fans had enough, really had enough, and we're playing 5 at the back and we're getting beat off Sheffield United, who hadn't kept a clean sheet all season. And we did it against Brentford, and Bruce just won't change it. Don't get me wrong, there has been spells towards the end of the back end of last season where we changed it, and a lot of people say it was down to Graham Jones, but it's going to be easy viewing for Manchester United fans because they're going to have all the ball and you're going to have 20, 25 chances, and we'll have 1 or 2 for lucky.
Well, I think we can blame Bruce now, because on the BBC Newcastle radio show he said that Graham Jones takes care of the attack in the midfield and Bruce takes care of the defense, right? And look at the defense now. Something has changed, I guess, but don't you think so?
We're a positive.
Basically he put himself in a position like now the defense is shit. So, and with him saying that, it all comes to him now.
Do you know? So if I know you obviously take your hat off. I'll say that we've got hats on. You take your Man United hat off. If you were a Newcastle fan, do you go for it and think, you know what, we're expected to get beat? Why not go out and try and play them? Why not get your pace on the ball? Get it at ASM, even Murphy to some extent. Try and hit them. Try and go for it. Let's play. Or is that too much of a risk?
I think if you look at, we battered Leeds last season, we battered them again at the start of this season, and I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that they maybe did go for it a little bit too more than they should have, because when the gaps open up, I think that's when we're dangerous. I think Newcastle will be looking at the blueprint of the way Southampton played against us, where they kind of sat in, they frustrated us, and like I say, got a few goals, or got a few attacks on the counter attack. Obviously, got a goal. Look, they didn't deserve it. They did deserve it. Sorry, we were lucky to get a draw. And against Wolves as well, we got the look with a goal, but realistically, Wolves could have had a 3 or 4 before half time. I think you'll take the blueprint where you'll try and hit us on the counter attack. And set pieces, obviously, it's always a 50-50, isn't it? I've said that I feel comfortable, but you never know on set pieces. All it takes is one player to switch off. And I think Bruce is that kind of manager where he'll cling on to try and get those set pieces, trying to win something, and like I say, hope for a counter attack goal. I don't think, as a fan, I can understand it. But as a United fan, I'll be honest, I would much obviously Newcastle come at us, because I feel like that opens the game up a bit more. It'd be a more frustrating game to see a low block, because I know that we struggle to break them teams down.
For me, this question was totally pointless, because we gotta keep the ball in our side for 1 minute straight. So, and that has all to do with the midfield and the defense. So
we are the most negative fan, probably up there with all.
But where is there anything to be positive about over the last 4 games?
No, there isn't.
We threw it away against Southampton at 2-2.
Arsenal bottom of the league, that's positive, isn't it? For all of us.
We can all smile about that one, yeah.
I couldn't give a flying fuck about Arsenal, to be fair, so I don't care where they are.
You'll choose the banter club, just enjoy it, mate. I don't enjoy it. It's not us. It's the Arsenal. Moving on to predicting the lineups, and I'll come to you first, Soph, because I want to have your say. Brandon, I'll come to you. This is what I think, assuming McTominay is fit, that Man United will go with, and I'll explain that, because I've said that Ronaldo, I think, will come off the bench later on. I know you're disagreeing on that. Do you agree on the back 4? That's settled?
Yeah, I agree on the back 4, and obviously the hiring goal as well.
Brandon, are you happy with the back 4?
Yeah.
That's Joe Maguire. Who's your 3 in midfield, Brandon?
I will probably stick with Fernandes and Pogba, and I'm biased, but I would probably go with Donny.
Yeah, of course you will. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. If there's a Czech player in this Man United side,
even though he played for Ajax Amsterdam, I have to say.
Yeah, if there's a Czech player in there, you'll play him. Up top, I think Martial. It's an easy game to play against. You're putting 10 men behind the ball, and I think it'll be Sancho, and I think it'll be Greenwood. But that's what I think the predicted Man United will be. I don't think there'll be too many wrong, 1 or 2 perhaps. So, where do you think I'm wrong?
I think McTominay isn't fit, so I would love to see Pogba and Donny play as the two midfielders, but that's not disciplined enough, and I know that won't happen. I would even love to see Donny and Matic playing in there. But again, I just can't see it happening. I don't know why. I just don't feel like Donny's going to play, even though a lot of United fans are thinking surely he's going to play this week. So I'm actually going to say Pogba and Matic and Bruno just in front, and then a front three of Greenwood, Sancho, and Ronaldo.
Let's do that then. So let's fill this in then. So you're going to go with David De Gea in goal. Is he as good as what he used to be?
It's that double save against Wolves. I think that proves he's still got it. He started the season well, to be fair. I think he started the season well. Last season, there's a lot of dips. Obviously, Henderson came in as well and was pushing him for that number one. But at the moment, for me, he's still our number one. He's still our best goalkeeper at the club.
And then it's Wan-Bissaka right, and then we're going with Varane, and we're going with Maguire, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, that is just. I know you said that, Brandon. It's not. You don't rate Maguire. Actually, I think he does. I think Varane around.
I didn't say I don't rate Maguire. I just think he has too much errors, and that I think there's better options, especially in the Premier League, than Maguire though.
I think that's a really big, strong back four. If they stay fit all season, you know, that's a challenge. It is. That's very strong. Quite experienced, the two centre backs and the goalkeeper as well. 1-1, but Wan-Bissaka's up there with the best in the league. Offensively though, Soph, do you think that's where he lacks? That's why he doesn't play for England?
I was about to say, I think the weakest player I'd say there, and I know it seems harsh, is Wan-Bissaka for that reason exactly. Defensively, 1v1 quality, but I think we've seen on many occasions him switching off at the back post. There's been a lot of goals that have been conceded from him just being wrong side of the player or caught ball watching, and then going forwards. I just don't think he influences it enough. I think on that right hand side we're kind of limited because it doesn't naturally make those overlapping runs, and oppositions aren't exactly scared of him in the final third because he's just not convincing. But hopefully, he's still young at the end of the day, and hopefully with a proper right-sided player as well, in Sancho coming in, hopefully we'll get the best out of him. But yeah, I'm happy with that back four as they are, and Wan-Bissaka defensively, like I say, I think he's superb.
Yeah, it's very strong. Who was your midfield three?
So my midfield three, I said it could either be Donny and Matic, but I think it will be Pogba and Matic, and then Bruno in front.
So we'll go with Fernandes. We'll go with Pogba and Matic. You said? Did you say that?
Yeah.
Who's on penalty duty then?
That's a good question. Ronaldo has to take it, doesn't he? Even though if I'm Bruno, I'm thinking you missed one the other week, mate. So let me take it. But yeah, I think Ronaldo gets it.
It's an interesting one because he takes all the free kicks and all the penalties. I think there's a free kick out wide. I think that'll stay with Fernandes. I think because Ronaldo will want to be in the box. But if it's central, the interest. I think Ronaldo will take charge. I think.
And when Rashford's back as well, that one against Chelsea that he scored. Obviously, it's 1 in a million with Rashford, but that one against Chelsea proves that he's got it in his locker as well. There's going to be a lot of competition for them set pieces.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of brilliant quality forwards. You're obviously seeing Ronaldo, of course. Where is he?
I wish it was that one.
I know. Ronaldo. Imagine there he is. And who's left?
So I think it would probably be Sancho left, Greenwood right. But I don't mind either way.
So you reckon the other way around and coming inwards?
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure if Greenwood can play as a right wing.
You know, he did at Old Trafford. He scored against us.
Yeah, when he came in off our left-hand side. Obviously, naturally, I agree with what you said earlier. He's definitely a future number 9. But I think at the moment, obviously, Ronaldo's got that shirt. And Greenwood started this season really well, to be fair. I think he deserves that start. Doesn't deserve to be dropped. And obviously, he didn't play for England as well, so he should be fresh.
Brandon, you look at that side, right? Where can we hurt Man U? How do we hurt Man U?
Does that say it enough? I don't know.
Where do you play Alan saint-maximin if he's with biggest strength? Because he's either going to have to go up against Wan-Bissaka or Luke Shaw.
If we don't have Wilson, though, I think he can do good against Maguire. If he plays, I have some sort of hope on like some sort of counter attack. But besides
that'll be where it is on a counter.
Yeah, it definitely will. We're going to park the bus
But I mean, yeah. Like I said earlier before, like, do we really have to play this game? On paper, it's just give them the 3-0, save a trip to Manchester.
Surely, though, you Newcastle fans have to see like the way that Southampton played, the way that Wolves were really unlucky as well. I think actually, Like, you know, we haven't played that well this season. I know on paper you say we look really, really good, and obviously Ronaldo coming in, we haven't seen that yet, and it's kind of unfortunate that his first game looks likely that it's going to be against Newcastle because the crowd are obviously going to be hyped and stuff, and I think that's why the first game against Leeds was so good, because there was such a hype about it. Obviously, it was a rival game, but also the fact that fans are back in the stadium after a long time. Fans are going to see Ronaldo after a long time, and obviously the atmosphere is going to be absolutely bouncing. So I'm just hoping that the players are up for it, but you never know. United, it always depends which team's going to turn up. We saw against Sophie.
So if you're a realist, come on, man.
I'm being nice. I'm being nice here.
You don't have to. You don't have to. Just slag us off like we do. I mean, there's not much to be positive about
I'm just
yet.
saying, you never know which United is
of
going
course.
to turn up. If we turn up like we did against Southampton, I'm sure saint-maximin will have his chances, and it's just about whether he can take them or not.
Yeah, if you keep the ball, the other team can't score, and if you score one more than the opponent, you win. Whatever.
I was so positive about Sophie.
Yeah. I'm trying. I don't think I'm the Newcastle fan here. I'm trying to lift you guys here. I'm trying to
I think
you never know what's going to happen.
I think it's because of what happens off the field, lack of transfers. Yeah. We've still got that takeover rumbling on, believe it or not. That's still in the background. That's going to be coming out in January, February. We'll get against the Premier Leagues.
Then we get our hopes up again, and nothing's going to happen again.
And then we're crushed.
I see us staying up as well, only if we can have some sort of people in. But otherwise, it's going to be a tough season.
Do you see you staying off, Soph?
I hope you do. Because Newcastle, like I say, is a club that I think great fan base, massive stadium. And it just, for me, like I say, it's just been like free fall for many years now at Newcastle. And I think until Mike Ashley's gone, I don't know. What's your thoughts on the whole takeover thing? Because obviously, you moaning about Steve Bruce and whatnot, and I understand that. But do you think he's just like the face of it? Do you think the real issues are in the background? Because it seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, got another hour.
Yeah, Steve Bruce is the mouthpiece, isn't he? And yes, we know Steve Bruce isn't that man to take us forward, but all of it goes on him because Charnley and Ashley don't speak, so Bruce will get it. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, with Newcastle win, and it's hard to praise Bruce because all the negativity, fans will say, well, it wasn't really Bruce, it was the skill of ASM. Or
that's true. Like if we win, it's still Bruce can't do good. I have to give him that, but it's just. And
the thing is,
it's just the whole package, like no communication from the club, an owner who don't give a flying fuck, a manager who says he knows what he's doing, but we can see clearly that he doesn't. He says he's a Geordie. I would like to believe so, but some actions speak different. But I mean, we have only one signing. I mean, the only thing that is good about Newcastle is our fan base, and our town.
If we won trophies for fans. Question for yourself: who has the worst owners out of the Glazers, Golden Sullivan, or Mike Ashley?
You know what? Like that's a hard question because for me,
that's why you're on.
I wish I could just say all of them, but I do feel like for Newcastle fans, it's just been a depressing time for a long time, and I can understand it if you'd had like the odd season where you got into Europe and whatnot. But like I say, it just feels like every season is just a fight, and then you go on a run of wins or lucky draws towards the end of the season, and then you're kind of safe again. And it kind of happens again the next season that there's never any change in that. It's not like you invest and you improve. It seems nothing's really changed at Newcastle, and that would be what worries me. I said earlier, like a ticking time bomb until Newcastle get relegated, and then the change will happen. I just hope that they make change before it's too late for the fans. Do you know what I mean? I went to Villa Park just before the lockdown, and I was in the Newcastle end with some of my mates, and the fans were just class. And I knew I was a United fan, but obviously they knew I was there with mates and whatnot, and it was just class. And I just think for the fan base and for a club the size of Newcastle, you need to stay in the top flight, and not just stay in the top flight, but you should be competing for Europe. That's where you should be at, and to not see that for so long, and look how defeatist like Newcastle fans are, and it's not just you, to every Newcastle fan I talk to, I think it's just a sorry sight. So I'm going to say Mike Ashley.
At least something we agree on tonight, though. So
yeah, and if you agree with
the fact that a takeover is being linked as well, like so obviously you got really close to having a takeover, should I say? Yeah. You got really close to having it as well so many times. Like you say, it's always a rumor. The fact that it's there and it's niggling.
Still
there's hope, and it's just like stringing you along. Do you know what I mean? Because nothing changes, and I think that's what I'll be frustrated with.
Let's get some score predictions. We'll go with the Man United fan first off.
I
You said you wanted to be nice to us, so wait.
I'm never gonna predict a Newcastle win. I'm sorry, I can't do that. But I
don't think we
hope we
are.
keep a clean sheet. That's what I'm gonna say. I hope we keep a clean sheet. With Varane and Maguire being in there, so I'm gonna say 3-0 United win.
Brandon?
I just hope our defense gets a little bit better and get the shit together. So 2-0 win for Man U.
2-0. This might surprise us. I'm going 6-0 Man United. 6-0. 6-0 Man United.
If it is that, do you think Bruce is done?
No.
Never.
No.
Never.
No. Even though I'm going there, it's the hope, isn't it? It's always the hope with a fan,
Course,
but realistically, as soon as the first one goes in, it's curtains. I think we'll hang in. The longer we hang in, yeah, that's best. But I think once the first goes in, that's it. Because there's so many, we don't know what squad's going out. There's so many injuries, attacking players. It's just, I can't see it. Yeah. I think it's what Brandon says. For you, yeah. I think for us, just get this out of the way, focus on Leeds, which you'll want us to win that one, which is under the bright light Friday night. I think there is a couple of things bubbling that fans might protest on that, but we'll have to see. Yeah. But 6-0 for Man United. Sorry, Toon fans, and I'm not optimistic now. But so if we've got,
I'm the optimistic. I'm the optimist, I guess.
Yeah. So if we've got Johnny coming on your channel over the weekend, haven't we?
Yes, Sunday night. If that's still all right with you guys, and I look forward to it. Hopefully, we'll be talking about 6 goals for United. That would be nice. But yeah,
why do you think I'm sending?
I'm looking forward to that, though. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good one.
Yeah, that's why I'm sending Johnny over rather than me. So yeah, have a look at Sophie's channel. The link is in the description already for that. And Johnny will be popping on their channel, Sophie's channel. Is it 1-on-1, or you bring the girls in as well?
I'll try and get Meg on, but obviously we play on Sundays. Both me and Meg are both footballers, and we play on a Sunday afternoon, so I'll do my best. So at the moment, it's just 1-on-1, but I'll keep you posted on that one. Yeah,
please do, and have over there on Sunday, where there'll be all the post-match stuff, and obviously we'll be all the build-up online during the day, watch along, scoring the players, fan reaction show. Then you've got lovely me negative outside in front of the Charlton Law best statue. So I'll be ranting and raving, no doubt.
Would you also be negative if you win, like always?
I'm not negative when we win. I'll tell it like it is, though. So
just giving a statement.
If you know what it is, we'll play horrible and win 1-0. I'll say that we'll play horrible and win 1-0.
I'll take it. I will take it each day.
That was like against Wolves. To be fair, I took it. I'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take it. So, leave Newcastle win. Will you take your hat off? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. That's a promise. That is a promise. Right.
You promised it already so much. It's never happening.
Shut up, you. Right. Good night, everyone. Watch what is it doing. Take care. Bye-bye.